My name is Dinasty Shadrealm, coming from the Chicagoland area, and I'm here with Industry's Most Wanted. I get a group of new ops, the more I cheat. I got a new fast car, I'm in love with the speed. I got a new holster and Glock to fit in my jeans. I'm out of your league, way out of your league. I get a group of new ops, the more I cheat. I got a new fast car.
Hey, what's going on, man? It is your girl, TampaMystic, and we are live.
Industry's Most Wanted.
Big Industry's Most Wanted, not the little one. Listen, I heard we got the Midwest checking in from Chicagoland, Dinasty Shadrealm. Shadrealm?
Shadrealm, yes.
Yeah,
like Shadow and Realm put together. No,
that's kind of a tongue twister a little bit. You know, I might just call you Dynasty. You know
you
what I'm
can just
saying?
call me Dynasty. No, that's good. I really did that just for marketing purposes because there's a lot of dynasties out there.
You gotta separate yourself from everybody else. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah, most definitely. Thanks for having me.
100%, man. Go ahead and, give us a brief introduction of who you are.
My name is Dinasty Shadrealm. I'm from the Chicagoland area, born and raised in Zion. I'm an artist. I'm a sound engineer, writer, producer. Pretty much do it all except for making beats, but I'm in the process of learning that too.
That was a great introduction.
Thanks.
Love it.
Thanks.
Absolutely. So let's just, before we get into all the current stuff you got going on, I want to take it back just a little bit. Okay. You're originally from Zion, Illinois. On the map, for people who don't know where Zion is, we'll say, how far is that from Chicago?
That's about 45 minutes from Chicago. And the reason why I say Chicagoland area, because it's basically an offshoot of Chicago. And so the biggest metropolitan city is Waukegan, but if people would know Waukegan, but it's like 45 minutes away from Chicago. Got
you. Taking us back, you've been doing this for 14-ish years, for a very, very long time. Yes. About the same amount of time I've been doing it. So we jumped into it around the same time. Why music?
Well, I would say I was doing it way before, more than 14 years, but I took it serious after 14 years. But that's the only thing that I really found that I had a passion for. Like even as I was like 5 or 6 years old, I was watching Rap City, and I would take like a suitcase and I would take records and scratch all of my grandfather's records up because I was trying to do like DJing. But it's just what I found to be the most, where I was the best at and where I was most passionate at. I quit football and walked home. I had a long walk, and I just said, you know what, I'm just going to do music, and that's going to be that.
I mean, in life, we have to find what we're passionate about. It's like oftentimes we get caught up in the whirlwind of doing stuff because it's what's working for us, but it's not necessarily our passion. And that's okay, because we got to take care of the business, the home. You know what I'm saying? But that's good that you found what your passion is and you're still able to have that work-life balance.
Yes.
That's so important. So Chicagoland, is that an actual city?
No.
Or it's like an area?
It's an area. It's basically like it's a bunch of suburbs that are offshoot of Chicago. So you have Chicago, and then north of Chicago, and even South Chicago. You have a North Chicago, and you have a South Chicago, but it's actually not in Chicago. it's just a whole bunch of suburbs that are pretty much surround the area, and it's cheaper too.
Listen, that's kind of how it is out here. Maybe we should start calling it Atlanta Land.
Atlanta Land.
Because I live specifically in Lawrenceville, which, when people are not from here and they say, where do you live? I'm going to say Atlanta. Because if I say Lawrenceville, Georgia, I'm like, where in the heck is that at?
Right.
But technically, I'm about 35 minutes from downtown Atlanta. So I'm, like you said, it's those suburbs per se. So Atlanta Land, that's a new term. Yeah,
if you go to Chicago and say you're from Zion, they're going to think you're from Africa.
Right.
Like, no, I'm from 15 minutes away from Six Flags.
That is hilarious. That is funny. How do you feel about the music scene where you're at right now?
I mean, it's good. I wish more people would take it a little bit more serious because right now, like I said, I have a studio, so I record tons of artists. And right now what I'm seeing is a lot of people are going to YouTube, downloading beats, and they're not really getting their track outs. They're not getting the masters to be able to put the stuff out on Spotify. They're switching names all the time. Like as I mentioned before, I put the Shadrealm at the end of my name, so when somebody does a Google search, they get to me. And so I've been just trying to coach different artists about what to not do or what to do or not to do. But I just wish people would take it more serious. But we have a tremendous amount of talent. It needs to be cultivated and pushed into the right direction.
Why do you think that is when there are so many resources out here for artists to be able to take it serious? Like the internet, YouTube, even social media is a plethora of information. Why do you feel like that they're not utilizing those resources?
I think they just want instant gratification. Everything just, instant or now, they hear a beat, they like it. They just want to, put something over it and just let everybody hear it, as opposed to getting the copyrights, going to sound exchange, trying to, get all your paperwork in order. It's just, they just want to be instantaneous and just get it out there. And in some cases, they're not doing the research.
Yes, that is facts. And I actually made a post about this fairly recently, and I got a lot of great feedback. There was a couple people who maybe took offense to it, and I wasn't trying to throw shade. I was just saying a lot of artists don't take the time to read.
Right.
And the lack of reading information is what can get you caught up in a bad situation. Like oftentimes they'll just sign something and not read the fine details. Right. And then after the fact, they're like, oh man, I'm stuck in this crazy situation. Well, perhaps you should have read it or got legal representation.
Right.
So you're right. Like there's so much information. They're just not taking the time to actually read it or study it or even watch YouTube videos. So great topic and a great piece of advice. All my artists out there, man, you got to start diving in because you just don't want to get taken advantage of and you don't want to leave no money on the table.
Right. And then even if you don't know where to find legal representation in your area, you could always go to LinkedIn and find like entertainment lawyers or like people who have worked as a curator within these playlists or whatnot. You could find professionals within any aspect. And I think another thing is we don't have managers. Like within the Midwest, it's not like New York where it's managers. It's people, it's record labels out there. So, you have to seek somebody who knows information or you have to seek it yourself.
That's facts. Absolutely. And there's like one person that I refer a lot of people to. Shout out to Wendy Day. She's infamous in this music industry. She's been doing it for a long time and she happens to be a close personal friend of mine. But she has a company called Rap Coalition. She's responsible she's the one that made the whole Cash Money deal happen. She's worked with Eminem. She kind of helped discover him. She's done a lot in the industry.
I think I've heard of them before too.
Yeah, it's Wendy Day specifically, and her company is Rap Coalition. And she, on her YouTube, she posts a lot of videos on there just educating artists. So I always tell people, go subscribe to her YouTube and watch through it because a lot of this stuff that they don't understand, split sheets, which, that's something that's super important, getting your publishing together, your sound exchange. She explains all that type of stuff. So make sure y'all tap in with her.
Right. And that's beneficial information.
What came first for you? Because you do multiple things in the industry.
Being an artist came first.
Okay.
So what had happened was I was an artist, and I was an artist. I was going to multiple studios, and I could never get the sound that I wanted to get. And the one person who I was able to get the sound from, he was always overbooked, so you could only see him like once a month. And that ended up becoming like my mentor, who taught me how to record. And I would always record with him, and he would tell me, "Oh, you could pan this, do this automation, delays, reverbs." It was a whole bunch of shit that was just going over my head, and I didn't know it. Then one day it just clicked, and as I'm going to these other studios, I'm telling them, hey, I want a quarter delay here, I want you to put some reverb here. And then he was like, you're telling them what to do, why don't you just get your equipment? And so I never wanted to be a sound engineer. I just wanted to stick to being an artist and writing, but over time it just was advantageous for me to just get my own equipment and pretty much do it. And then, like I said, I ended up getting my own sound, and then I got a space just to get away from my baby mama and my kids. Shout out Tanisha. But I had got a space just to get away from them and everybody, just so I could be by myself. And then somebody who was in the group, Andre, he's in we used to have a group called Society. But he does videography. And so he was shooting Ill Boy in one of my rooms, and then Ill Boy came into my room. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm mixing my stuff. I'm like, and then that's how we met. And then it just became a snowball effect where he brought somebody over, and then other people would just come over, and then that next thing I know, I'm recording 20 to 30% of the artists within the area.
It's like never intended for it to turn out that way, but it has.
Yeah, it's accidental success.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. Definitely. So how long would you say you've actually been recording other artists?
I've been since 2004, I would say. Since 2004. But I was like 2004 through 2010, I was recording everybody for free. Because I really didn't know what I was doing. So it was just basically friends coming over. And now that I look at it, that was pretty much like an internship.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's what I try to explain to a lot of these younger people coming in and they just start a business. I'm like, you're going to have to put in a lot of free work.
Right.
When I first started doing this, I wasn't charging for interviews. You know, I was literally doing them not in person. I was doing them like, you know, virtually over the phone, but I was doing it from the house. I'm like, people didn't know me like that. Right. Like you said, it was kind of an internship. And some of these people coming into small business, they feel like from day one, they're supposed to make money. And I'm like, it don't always happen that way.
You're going to lose. You're going to lose
you're going to spend
money. And that's where you're going to find, like, do you really want to do this or not? And so, I recorded everybody for free for a while. And then until it just, I got better and I found myself and I had my own sound. And so, and that's why a lot of people come to me because, people bring stuff from other studios to me to fix because they're like, this is clipping, it's too hot, it's distortion. But that's pretty much how that happened. I started off as an artist, transitioned into sound engineering, and then that's another reason why a lot of the artists come to me too, because I'm not just like only a sound engineer. I'll be like, hey, this is off, you need to put ad lib in this pocket. You know, I'll give them, you know, I'll critique them. I don't get my 10%, but
I think that's what separates you though as the audio engineer from a lot of other ones, because you actually are giving your input, where there are some audio engineers out here, all they want to do is just press them buttons, record the artist and move it on. And I'm not knocking that, but I feel like that if you can put a little bit of input and help them out, because really at the end of the day, it falls back on you.
Right.
If somebody hears that and the mix and the master's off, they're going to be like, damn, who engineered that? You don't want them to be like, yeah, it was Dynasty, you know.
And that's what happens.
Exactly. Because I do that often because, you know, I have my 2 internet radio stations and I always listen to the music before I put it in rotation to make sure that it's up to par. And there'll be times where you can tell that thing is super rough.
Yeah.
And I'll say, is this mixed? Yeah. I'm like, and the first thing I'll say beyond that is who mixed it. I need to know not to send anybody to that person. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But the role of a sound engineer has definitely changed. Like, I was like watching a video with Quad Studios, and that's the studio that Tupac actually got shot in. And the engineers that they have coming in there, they not only have to do the engineering, but they have to help with like some of the writing processes. So the role has definitely evolved. And like you said, if it comes from my studio, you know, and it's bad, they're gonna blame me. It's not gonna be, oh, they had an entourage of people like 50 deep and I couldn't hear the music, so it's just gonna be me.
That's facts, absolutely. So it's like at the end of the day, you want to make sure when it leaves there, it's to the best of your ability, the best sound quality, because it does. You know, it's even though I don't feel like engineers get their just due, they don't get enough recognition, because without you guys, that song wouldn't be what it is.
Yeah, and it's only like a few artists that really put me on the credits, because back in the day when the engineers did something, they would be put on, you know, on the credits. But a lot of people don't credit us.
Artists, start giving these engineers credit. And that's why every artist I interview, I always bring up who engineers your music, because it's like I want them to get some shine too, because I feel like they're not getting enough of it, or even producers for that matter.
Right.
So oftentimes, like you said, they're going to YouTube and I'll say, who produced that? And they're like, I don't know, I just got it off of YouTube. It's like, you should at least try to reach out as an artist and build some sort of, you know, rapport with that producer if you're using that producer's beat, even if it is for free.
Right. And I'll give 2 gems before we move on. Yeah. But, like with the beats that you get on YouTube, a lot of producers, they'll distort the bass to make it sound harsh on purpose, so you can't use it. So I have a plugin that I use that basically adjusts the bass to clean it up. So it you know, it sounds really good. And then I forgot the second one.
That's okay. We can come back to it. So we talked about what really separates you from other engineers, and that's because you really are taking the time to help these artists. What do you feel is separating you and making you stand out a little bit from other artists in your area?
I would say originality, and just basically having everything sound high quality, because a lot of people don't, they just are putting stuff out and it doesn't sound high quality. So like I pay attention to the bass, to the snare, everything. I wanted to be at a certain frequency, and even then the content that you put out, like everything on the radio pretty much is like, you know, it kind of sounds the same, and a lot of people don't want to take risks. And so I got I got a country song that I started on, I got a rock song that I started on. Where it will go, I don't know, but it's just basically just doing, you know, just experimentation.
You have to shoot your shot.
Yeah.
You know, because in life, it's like, it's about taking risk. It's about seeking out opportunities. You know, you miss 100% of shots you don't take. what if that country song is what takes you up and through there?
Yeah.
And what if you were too afraid to put it out because you didn't know how people would perceive it? Who cares?
Right.
Throw it out there.
Yeah.
It might be the one. That might be the one that takes you up and through there and lands you a movie placement or something like that.
Yeah, and even within my project that I'm putting out called Allure, when I went to Vegas and I started going to the EDM scene, that made me want to incorporate EDM and house music into my project some type of way. But like I don't want, and everything that I do, I never take what somebody else does and just emulates it for that. I try to make it my own.
Got you. The project, since you just mentioned it, Allure, when is this one anticipated to release?
March, either March or April. It should have been released, but I've been finalizing other artists' projects.
Understood.
Because I have a bad habit of putting everybody else before myself.
I do the same thing. Don't feel bad. No, I definitely understood. Absolutely. How many songs can we anticipate on Allure?
20.
20. Okay, so it's a hefty one.
Yeah, it's hefty. It's 20 because it's all, like I said, I got R&B, I got the trap stuff, I got EDM, I got a couple country songs, and then I got Afro beats.
I love that. It's a very well-rounded project. It is going to allow people to pick and choose what sound they like best from you.
Yes.
And it's going to be different. Some people are like, man, I like the country sound. Other people, I might like the Afrobeat sound, but that's cool. You allow them to pick and choose.
Yes.
Definitely. So sometime in March and April, we can anticipate it.
Yes.
How long has it been in the works from the moment you had the idea to put a project together till now?
2020.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But like I said, the reason why it's just taking so long is because I did about 15 albums and countless singles from other artists.
Understood.
So every time I'll do my song and then everybody else starts coming in wanting sessions or whatnot, and something else is going on. And so, like I said, I always prioritize everybody else before me. And then, my girl is always like, you better get that money.
I mean, that's totally understood because, I think we as entrepreneurs and small business owners always do that. I always am going to put my clients' work before my own.
Right.
Every single time, just because this is what pays the bills.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you want to make sure you stay on that good path, of good graces with people that you're getting it back in a timely manner.
Right.
Trust me, people don't always talk about the good stuff, but they gonna damn sure talk about the bad stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Man, it took him a month to get my,
He just recorded, he didn't mix it.
Exactly.
These delays are off.
Meantime, he's over there releasing his own music.
Yeah.
Like, how dare him?
His stuff sound good, but my auto-tune it ain't adjusted.
Exactly.
I heard that before. I'm like, you can't sing.
Right. You need a ton of auto-tune,
Take it off. I'm like, no, I need it on.
Let's just, for a brief second, touch on that. Just for a brief second, because, again, I don't never hide my age. I tell people all the time, I'm 50 years old, I'm about to be 51. I consider myself a young OG, right?
Yeah.
So 90s and 2000s, early 2000s to me was in my lifetime, was some of the best R&B music that came out, right? Do you feel like that a lot of people now are saying that they're R&B, but they're just relying a lot on their engineer to get them vocally where they need to be? Yeah,
because the R&B of the 90s and 2000s, you got to think it was spawning off of like the 80s, and it was spawning where the talent was, you had to have tremendous talent.
Yes.
And so I would say the R&B is kind of like trap and B.
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
a lot of the R&B stuff is really went overseas.
Yes.
Like the group BTS. I used to take my daughter to those concerts, and she really liked it because, it was just pure R&B. So I do think that they rely on the engineers a lot, but I think the production on certain tracks is just not what it should be, because it's not like, it was more instrumentation. It was more
Facts.
like, now it's more so electronic.
Yes, no, I agree with that. And again, I always put my disclaimer out there, because I'm not the type of person that throws shade at people by any means.
Right.
Like, I'm not, who am I to insult anybody?
Right.
I just try to understand.
Yeah, I still like it, but I believe if it's one of those things where if you haven't heard what it was, you don't understand what it is now.
Yes.
And a lot of the kids now are going back to actually study that stuff. Like I said, my daughter has a Leah shirt. She's telling me about, what you know about mint condition? I'm like, what you know about mint condition?
Yeah, what you know? How old is your daughter?
Yeah, she's 18.
Okay, so yeah, exactly. My son 30. But even I kind of...
And I'm 39. I'll put my age out there.
Yeah,
I'm 39.
There is nothing wrong with people. Again, some people, maybe they don't want them that much into their personal life, but
right.
I'm like, to me, growing old is a blessing, because there's a lot of people who aren't making it to your age and definitely not making it to my age.
Right.
You know, so growing to my age that's beautiful.
I didn't even think you were 50.
I appreciate that.
I see some 20-year-olds that look rough, and I'm like, I look younger than you. What happened?
I see some of my classmates, and I'm like, dang, like they must have had a rough life because we the same age. Homie. They look like damn homie. They look like they 70. I won't call out no names, but you know.
They like, you look the same. I'm like, yeah, thanks.
Exactly. I would have never put you at that age. Not that it's old by any means.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
like,
but
it happens when I tell people how old my daughter is. They're like, wait, what?
Right? Exactly. Shocking. So you're out here right now. Obviously, you're sitting down with me, but you're also out here. You're doing the is it called Direct to Connect, Coast to Coast?
Direct to Exec.
Direct to Exec.
Yes.
Coast to Coast. Have you done one of those before?
No.
So you don't know what to expect.
No,
necessarily.
I just know that I have to do a performance and pretty much give a pitch of like everything I do and why they should pick me. And to go back to the age, elaborates on the age thing. I won 2 contests, and so one in Chicago and then one in Joliet. The Chicago was like a bunch of Chicago artists, and then the one in Joliet was a nationals where you had people from Canada coming, you had people from Texas and all over. And so I had won in the Chicago one. I won to get to the next round, and then in the national ones, I was in 4th place.
Congratulations!
So, thanks, I appreciate it. But it was all young, you know. I didn't think I was all young artists. So I'm like, they're not gonna want my old ass. I'm unk status, like, and so I ended up. I'm like, okay, you know. And then that's when my girl was like, wait, what? You won? I'm like, yeah, I won. I'm going to Atlanta, and so that's how I ended up getting this opportunity. And so I'll be meeting with some execs from Atlantic Records and Priority Records.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so pretty much what I've been doing this whole the past 4 weeks, I had put it together like a commercial song that's like super commercial, and I just been basically rehearsing it line for line because when I perform, I don't like backings on the track. I like to just do everything raw.
I love that.
And that's another thing I've been trying to teach the younger artists because a lot of them, when they do shows, they have the original track playing where they're just dancing around. They're not really saying the words. And that's really, I mean, you can perform like that, but it's not really a true performance. It's not really live.
Listen, I agree with that because people want to hear who you are. You know, yeah, we know what the studio quality one sounds like. And truth be told, anybody who's professional about it can never expect you to sound exactly like how your track sounds because you don't have all the engineering bells and whistles on it, right? But it definitely stands out. I do showcases with my business partner out here. And our last one, we had about 20 artists perform, and there was only one artist, shout out to, is a female, her name is JC Rocker. She was the only one who actually had a performance track where she rapped her vocals without having the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, backing,
And I pointed that out, and it wasn't to, you know, like make anybody else feel bad, but I was like, see how she rapped over just her beat and her instrumental, and she held it, and she ended up winning one of the prizes because I just thought that was so dope, and she sounded good. So yeah, definitely. And, you know, again, I think it would just take some courage of getting used to that because, you know, they don't know how they sound live.
Yeah, it's a mental thing because you got to get out there. You have to, you know, you have to remember the words.
Yes.
Something might be going on, like, you know, in a crowd where you're thinking to yourself, what the hell is that? But you still have to keep going.
Yes.
So it's just a mental thing where even when I'm rehearsing, I have put little mental things to distract me.
Yes.
Like I'll be working out and do like, you know, you have to count your repetitions and, you know, do the vocals. I'll do little mental exercises to distract myself on purpose, so I know like, okay, I could still spit it and have everything perfect with everything throwing me off in the background. Absolutely.
It's just like they say, practice makes perfect. You have to practice at everything you do and continue to do it. Don't get to a certain point and say, nah, I ain't got to practice no more. We're always a work in progress.
David Ruffins.
Exactly.
I don't need no practice.
Yeah, exactly. So you've been able to do some opening concerts for some big names.
Yes.
Nas being one of them?
Yes.
Twista. Yeah. The list goes on, man. Tell us about those experiences and how it helped, you know, your situation with what you're already doing in music.
Yeah, well, Nas and Talib Kweli, we opened up for them at a place called The Rave, that's in Milwaukee. And so and then Twista we opened up for in Congress Theater.
Okay.
It's just like basically it just gets exposure to a lot of people. You know, the bigger the crowds are, the nervous you're going to be.
Yes.
And so if you're doing local shows and you do a couple, you're doing them periodically. Eventually, you get used to that.
Yes.
But once you start doing big crowds, and all eyes are on you. Yeah, that is basically that's like the next level. And so what that did for us, it just helped us put us in a mentality where if we do get into a situation like that, you know, we're prepared and we know what to expect.
Absolutely, because it's like, you know, and I talk to a lot of artists about this, you know, essentially, really at the end of the day, the crowd's there to see the Nas. They're there to see the Twistas and the whoever else. But you can make them your fans as well if you really think it through and like, okay, well, I know what Twista's sound is. Maybe I should pick a few songs that kind of, sort of would fit into that realm and perform that there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that allows people to be like, oh, he's dope. Let me follow him. Then they'll discover your other music and your other sounds.
Right.
So it's just about being prepared.
Right. And then not to cut you off, I've been trying to remember I forgot that second gem. Okay, on YouTube, like if you are an artist that is downloading other producers' beats on YouTube, like there's a settings thing where you could go from like 480 to HD. If you take it and put it in HD, it actually makes the quality of that beat better when you're downloading it.
Please do that. Even when you're watching my interviews, it always defaults at the lower quality.
Right, because it's easier for the stream to go through. The higher the quality, you have to have really good internet to be able to stream it through.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. You got to have that strong Wi-Fi, you know. So it's like I typically, even though I can record in 4K, I export them in 2K because the quality's still there. It's an interview, so it don't need to be no 6K, 8K, right? But it allows people with that strong Wi-Fi to watch it in at least 2K versus 380 or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
So grainy.
That's a great tip right there.
Yes.
A lot of artists probably don't know that too.
No, they don't.
It's like a little gear thing that you click on and you can...
Yeah, it's like a cog, a cog. But no, they don't know that, but I know that. And so like I'm always going in there, but a lot of artists don't know that.
Yes.
But I do that because like anything that comes out of my studio, I want it to have the highest quality and not clip.
100%. Within your studio, talk to us about what you have in there or what you're looking to put in there, like podcast studios, etc.
Yeah. So right now I got like like a recording setup. I got a Apollo interface.
Yeah.
What is that? Accelerator to basically give me more DSP chips.
Yeah.
Which is like when you use you audio plugins, the more plugins you use, they take DSP chips because it's very powerful plugins. They actually go to the Neves, they actually go to SSL to get the blueprints of how they make that hardware, and then they turn it to software. So I got the Apollo, I got a Neumann mic,
which are top notch.
Yeah, Neumann's. Yeah, TML 103.
Them joints is into the thou wows.
Yeah, yeah, mine is 1300. Yeah, my mentor has a U84 with that Jay-Z uses. That's like a $5,000
easy. Yeah,
and so I use Pro Tools. I'm about to start getting. I'm about to get Logic because a lot of artists are doing Logic, and so at least I could be able to take that, transfer it to Stems, and put it into Pro Tools. But I like to stay to Pro Tools because that's the industry standard. What else do I got in there? I got that KRK speakers. I'm looking to expand to live instrumentation. So I have 2 drum sets that I have. I have to get those.
Do you play them?
No.
Okay.
No, I do not. And the people who are drummers who come to my studio, they're like, can you give me these? I'm like, no, you can't have them.
Like, they will be put to use, trust me.
A church actually donated me those, and they're from like the 60s and 70s. So the wood and material that they use in that, it gives a unique sound. So I'm not gonna sell those, but I have those. I have a euphonium. I have a clarinet.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because my daughter was playing. She was playing the euphonium, but then when she went to college, she was like, it's taking too much of my time.
Understood.
I don't think she just wants to party. But
she's a college girl, of course.
So eventually, I want to expand my studio out to be able to mic up the drums, mic up any type of live instrumentation, so I could get live artists to be able to come in there. And then it's just like Eel Boy, we did a live performance. Like we just didn't do the regular instrument in the background. We had a drummer and we had a couple people who play instruments for like one of the shows, and it just sounds better. And you actually get into more venues when you have a band compared to just a track in the background.
Yes,
because they want to see bands and instrumentation.
That is facts, absolutely. And again, it makes you really stand out and separate you from other artists out there because you're taking that extra step to enhance what your performance per se.
Right.
There has been times at my showcases where I didn't have a whole band set up, but I would hire a drummer to come out and I would give the artist an option. Do you want him to drum along with your performance? And the ones who did loved it because this drummer was the type that he could literally pick up on it on a whim. He was so good at it. And it just enhanced, and the artists, they got off that stage, they felt so good because they performed with a drummer, and it was just absolutely amazing. So
it's an exhilarating feeling, and like if you don't have you kind of have to get used to it too.
Yes.
Because if it's all the band, like if you don't have any type of instrument in the background,
yes.
like your instrumental, sometimes like because it's humans doing it, so sometimes you might have to pick up a little bit, like go faster or go slower
right.
to basically catch up to their tempo.
Absolutely, and that's why like I only brought a drummer in, and I gave them an option. I didn't force them to perform with him because
right.
some artists have never performed with any type of live instrument, let
right.
alone an entire band. And the ones who did, man, they absolutely loved it. So yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely different.
So are you looking to incorporate like podcast studios and stuff in there, or a podcast set up in there as well at some point in time?
Yeah, at some point in time, I am definitely looking to do that because one thing I got a lot of side hustles, but I do real estate. And so what I want to start doing is giving like market analysis. Like if it's not necessarily a podcast, I just want to do like a clip, like, quarterly or, semi-annual or something like that to basically give like an update of like, what's going on. But yeah, and then I know a lot of other people who do podcasts too. So, it's not something I necessarily do, but I know a lot of other people who do it. And then they'll come to me and say, hey, can you get a podcast set up? Can you get this in the background? I'm like, I'm not CBS, but I'll try.
Exactly, because there's a lot of people that are first starting out. They want to do a podcast, but they don't know where to start. That was
right.
me 14 years ago before podcasting even really became a thing. I had to go online and learn what pieces of equipment, and I worked out of other people's studios for several years. It was just in the last 3 years
right.
that I had my own
right.
setup. And I finally got to the point where I wanted to do that because, obviously having to book, like you said, booking that studio time, it might already be booked. I can't get in there when I need to.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to get my own spot. But that'll be dope for people that, either they just can't afford their own spot, or maybe they're only doing it very part-time and
right.
they just need somewhere to come in. So I think that'll be great.
Yeah, and that is one. I want to set up a house that just has everything divided off. And even with engineers, I want to hire 2 engineers, like even if I have to teach them.
Sure.
Because right now I'm just, everything is a service-based industry, and I'm just being spread everywhere. And so I barely have time to even see my kids because I'm like doing mixes like from 9 p.m. to 4 o'clock in the morning.
Listen, I respect the hustle though. Understood. What does your 9 to 5 look like?
My 9 to 5, well
8 to 5 maybe?
Well, when I tell you this, everybody's like, why the hell are you doing music? But I work under corporate financial services, and so I'm a accounts receivable analyst. And so I work for a top pharmaceutical company, and so I'm in charge of basically bringing the money in.
Yes.
And like I'm doing the music really right now. Like I'm putting out my album, and I postponed going to school for my master's to be able to like do the opportunity that I'm doing right now to meet up with the execs. And I'm hoping like I could use that for like me and some of the artists that are like below me that pretty much record with me. And so, but yeah, I'm into like I said, I work doing accounting. One of my side hustles is real estate. I have my real estate license. I have a pest control license. Pest control, I haven't been able to do anything with it yet, but I'm about to start this year.
Yeah.
I want to get a truck and chemicals to start that. And the reason why I want to do that, because within accounting, everything is becoming automated. We use Copilot, AI for a lot of the stuff that we use. And so I would just, any of the youngins that's coming up, I would encourage them to get into like any field that is AI proof, because a lot of this shit is becoming automated. Even if you have to become like into plumbing, where you're removing like, you're emptying septic systems, they make $1,000 a pop for that.
Right. Get yourself a trade.
Yeah.
That's something that AI or a robot can't do.
Right.
You have to have a human being present. And I feel like even with what you do with engineering, sure, there are programs out there probably now that can AI it, but I feel like it's never going to touch the human element of what an actual human being can do and get in there, because you can't necessarily tell an AI what an artist wants per se, what they're hearing in their head, but they can sit down and explain it to you as a human being, and you can make that happen for them.
Right. No, you're so right. With Isotope Ozone, that's a mastering program. And so you could put your track in there, and you could put a reference track in there, and you could say, master. And then to do it automatically master compared to that reference track that you put in. But some of the, like, the vocals might be high, some of the beat, the bass might be high. You still have to go in there and do it adjustments. It doesn't know how to do it perfect. Or, you might want that bass to be a little bit higher,
sure.
Because that's your sound.
Some artists will use that, though, just to get by, and they're okay with that.
Mastering is the big thing.
You should never want to just get by. You got to figure out ways to stand out.
Right.
Taking it back to your music, even though you do different genres of music,
right,
would you say that your theme of the things you talk about kind of stays the same across the board, no matter what genre, or does that vary as well?
I would say yes and no. I would say for the most part, I would talk about the same. I talk about the same bass and stuff, but like if I hear a beat and it takes me, to a different place, then I'll pretty much write according to whatever I feel like the beat is telling me to. Because I know some people who write first and then they get the beat. I always get the beat and then I'll write around that.
Understood. So you are pen to paper, typing it on your phone. When
Both.
you say write, you do a little bit of both.
I do both. And
I love that.
I'll do pen to paper, and then like if I like really like it, then I'll put it into the laptop. Or like if I'm brainstorming, I'll just put it into the laptop because my notebook will just have scribble, scribble, scribble.
Nah, that makes sense, and I respect that because I sit down with a lot of young artists who've never written a song, and they'll just go in the studio and punch in, and bless their heart, because I could never do that. I can't think that fast. But I always challenge them, try writing a song at least once just to see how it makes you feel, because I say it all the time, writing is like a form of therapy.
Right.
We need that in our life because we go through some ish, right?
Yeah. And because I do that too. Everybody I call it the Lil Wayne tactic or whatnot. You're just going in, punching in some stuff in and out. Sometimes it can sound better than when you're writing because it's more natural.
Yeah.
But what people don't realize, you're only going to get out what you put in. So if you're not reading, if you're not, you're not absorbing different materials and different content, like you're not going to be able to, I guess, regurgitate, anything new. And so a lot of people who do the freestyle thing, they kind of sound the same overall on tracks.
Absolutely.
If they're not reading or, getting in any type of material. And I will do that too. Like if I'm tipsy or something and I just need to get something out, I'm like, let me just try this. Like, okay, that sounds good. But then when you have to do a stack or overdub, then that's when you're in trouble.
Right. So I feel like it's like you should kind of, learn all aspects of it. Even if this isn't how you always do it, still learn it so you have that under your belt in case there is a situation where you need to use that particular method of making something happen.
Right.
Absolutely. Let's talk about this single. It's called Out of Your League.
Yes.
Came out in August of 2024, so it's still a brand new record.
Yes.
Tell us, about this song. Like, where were you at in your head and mentally when you wrote this record?
I pretty much was, I had to put something out. Everybody was like, where's your project at? You've been working on it for this long. So, I just felt like that was the strongest song. We're shooting a video for it. Like mentally, I just wanted to put something that kind of like, just represented, just represented me or whatnot. And so even like with the cover of it, I had a suit. I'm in Miami as planes or whatnot. I grew up with my grandfather, and so like watching James Bond and different stuff. So that's why I kind of put it in the James Bond thing.
I got
I'm a big James Bond fan. But I just felt like that was the strongest single at the time. Like the one that I'm about to present to Atlantic is more stronger now because I made that just for commercial. I would say like commercial radio. This song I would say is just kind of commercial underground.
Got you.
It's good. It's a catchy song. Everybody loves it, but it's more so, I would more so hear it like, it's one of those underground hits more so than radio.
Understood. No, that absolutely makes sense. And you have to make songs sometimes based upon the scenario.
Right.
Like, hey, if you know that you're going to perform in front of a crowd that's got kids there, you got to make sure if you don't already have one, have a song that's kid friendly.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to this meeting today, meeting with some label execs. You made sure you made a song that you feel like is going to appeal to them.
Right.
Do you desire to sign to a label if it made sense for you?
Yes, I would. I would definitely sign to a label. I know a lot of people say, I wouldn't just stay independent. But, I mean, you don't have the resources that they have. And even with the streaming, a lot of these artists they have, like, independent deals with the label where, we don't have them.
Yeah.
We just don't have them where, like, it's just to try to make a living off streaming is tough. It's not what it used to be.
No, that's why as an artist you have to have other hustles in place like you still have your full-time day job.
Yes.
Plus you do, like you said, real estate. You're getting into pest control. You have to have multiple hustles. You cannot just do one thing because everything is seasonal.
Right.
During the wintertime, pest control probably isn't as thriving because everything's dead because it's cold outside, right? But summertime, springtime, and all the bugs are coming. So it's like you got to, if that was your main hustle, okay, boom, you got to have a backup to carry you through the winter months.
Yes.
You know, so how important is it? And talk to these young artists that some of them just want to jump right in and do this full time and leave their day job. What would you say to them?
I would say don't. Don't do it unless you want to be a starving artist. Do not do it because don't do it. And like if you want if you want shit, do not do it. And so because I when I first started off at my first job, I was a janitor, and so I was a janitor, and then I was under my uncle, so I had a lick when I was pretty much doing that. And then once that stopped, then I didn't have any money, so I tried to do the starving artist thing, but it just didn't work. And I even got to the point where I put on a suit and I had like wrote up this little letter, like, please, make a donation to me. We're doing this, that, and the other. And I went door to door with my CD, like trying to get money.
Oh, wow.
I was knocking door to door, like to do CD sales. And I didn't do it like within religion, it's like a little loophole they have where they could knock door to door. And so I didn't cuss on this whole album. So I could be, if I got stopped by the police for but solicitation, I could be, hey, this is religious purposes. But I mean, money is important for this business. Like you have to pay to get your correct production. You have to pay for even copyrights, studio time. You want the outfits for the video, video everything costs. And then even then you got scalpers who are trying to get you, from from money, or say they could do something and then they can't. So I would say it's very important to have some type of stream of income to support you so you're not out here thirsty.
Especially if you got kids.
Yes, especially
if you got kids, because boy, to raise a child in this day and age is not cheap.
Oh no, it's not cheap, and then my kids are all expensive. I had to buy my son a gaming computer that was $1,700. Yeah, they don't want Xbox and PlayStations anymore. And then my daughter's in college, and the kids are expensive.
Absolutely. So you've got this project Allure that's going to be dropping very soon. In the next maybe month to 2 months, we can anticipate that. Anything else that you got in the works? Anything you got up your sleeve that we need to know about that you got coming up? We'll say in the next few months. I got Allure, and then I also have another project called My Goals Destroyed Me, which everybody's like, that's interesting. But I got another project called My Goals Destroyed Me. Both projects are pretty much already finished. I'm just adding touches on it. Just like the EDM, I'm putting that on there, the Afro beats, but like the base of the project's already done. So pretty much I'm just doing, I just have those projects in the works. After that, I am going to try to do like a project that's centered around like just the mainstream Chicago artists like Twister, Katie Got Bands, Do or Die. I am going to try to do a project to basically like that's centered around all of them, because like they are still putting out music, but I feel like I could source beats that basically matches them a little bit better, and then even the production wise, I believe I could get a better sound, and I think that will propel me a little bit further, just working with those bigger artists and making them be able to sound a little bit better. That is dope. I love that concept.
Not to say they're sounding bad now, but I just believe I have something that I can add.
Well, yeah, because I mean, some of those artists came out in an era where they didn't have all the tools that they have now, as far as the way Pro Tools is set up and stuff like that. It was probably very basic back then.
Yes,
I got to interview Do or Die probably, almost 10 years ago. It was super dope to sit down with them guys and really like pick their brain of, like you said, they're still out here active doing stuff, but times have changed. Yeah,
we've been in the same vicinity, like we've been at the same shows or whatnot, like in same event parties. But I met I think Nardo. I think I met Nardo. One of my guys named one of my guy Andre, his brother is named Jimsy, and so they used to be up the street from our house in little old Zion. But he used to make a lot of their beats like Do or Die, Psychodrama, Triple Darkness. He used to make, and these are all notable groups like within the Chicago. If anybody from out here doesn't know, but no, they used to be at their house, and we used to see them over there, and that was one of the inspirations that we got as well. well.
I love that. That is dope, man. For people who want to keep up with your journey, where can they follow you?
They can follow me Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You could follow me at Dinasty Shadrealm.
Spell that for them.
I'm about to say last name Shadrealm, and that's Dynasty with an I because I'm the one.
I know that's right. I know you have a lot of people that love you and support you. We always have to give thanks to those people. Who do you want to give thanks to and give a shout out to?
Oh, I just give a shout out to my mom. Give a shout out to Tanisha, my girlfriend / baby mom. She hates it when I call her that. Give a shout out to my kids. Shout out to Ill Boy, of course.
That's the homie.
Yeah, Ill Boy. Johnny Kilroy. Who else? It's just a lot to name. But my cousin Jalen. Yeah, but pretty much that. Shout out to all of them. Shout out anybody who supported me during the journey. All the artists that I record. OTM. Trap Preacher. Yeah, I mean, pretty much we all gonna put projects out this year. We gonna get it in. It's a lot that's going on.
I love it. And shout out to you too.
And thanks. Yeah, shout out to me.
Shout out to you, man.
Shout out to me.
Can't forget about yourself. Definitely. I got one last question. Where are we at, y'all?
Industries.
Tell them big industries most wanted. Not the little one.
Not the little one.
What makes you the industry's most wanted?
Versatility, quality. About to say, just the ability to basically stay relevant. And diversity.
I love it. Thank you for being here today. I'm glad that we were able to make this happen before you go over to Coast to Coast event.
Yes, I'm about to give me some ribs and some.
I know that's right. Definitely.
Some soul food.
Yeah, when you go to a new city, you got to try different food. That's important.
It's traffic out here. It's crazy. I thought Chicago traffic was
the
crazy.
Traffic out here is stupid.
Yeah, everybody was telling me. I'm like, I'm from Chicago.
It is insane. It's very, very different. Like, I've been here since 2013, and I'm still trying to get used to the traffic. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. Absolutely. We up out of here, y'all.
We out of here.
I got a new holster and Glock to fit in my jeans. I'm out of your league. Way out of your league. I get a group of new ops, the more I cheat.